Welcome into another episode of Betting the Pitch. It is Friday, April 7th. Happy Good Friday to those of you that celebrate. We're going to go through, there's kind of a wild weekend schedule, a little bit different. There's already been a bunch of Serie A matches played in Italy, but I've kind of found that's not really my stomping grounds at this point in the betting season. But still going to cover that league, English Premier League, La Liga, Serie A, Bundesliga, and Ligue 1. Before we're done, get out of here with an ultimate best bet. I got a promo code for pregame.com. And of course, I'm your host, the real_G Warner. If you're on YouTube, please hit subscribe. If you're on Apple Podcasts or on Spotify, leave a 5-star review. I will read it if I see a good one. And if you're on Twitter, hit the follow button, the real_G Warner. Also be posting something on Instagram, trying to build up some sort of following there. So it's not just friends of mine in real life. But that should be your quick. If you ever only got a couple minutes or really literally 1 minute and you want to see my best picks from the 5 top European soccer leagues, go check Instagram. And of course, I also have a Patreon account, which is, I think, a really good bang for your buck option. Get all my picks across all the sports for a much lower fee than you'll see daily on pregame. But wherever you are, I appreciate you listening, following, all that sort of things. And ultimately, let's go win some money. So to get you some more money in your account, all lines quoted in this podcast are courtesy of betonline.ag, my favorite place to get my bets down early. Reduced use and offered almost on every game you want to bet right up until game time. Please use the link found in the podcast description to fund your account. Use the promo code GW50 to receive a 50% match bonus up to $1,000. So put my stuff on Do Not Disturb, and then we'll get right into it. So as usual, we'll start where the money is, and that is in the Premier League. Crazy, wild at the bottom. Also, I mean, every league has good runs for European positions, but we'll start with Manchester United hosting Everton. Currently, Manchester United a 1-goal favorite with all the juice right now at BetOnline. Over/under is 2.5, juice to the over. Everton's a side I want to back as an under. Doucouré suspended for his ridiculous red card, pushing Harry Kane in the face, and then him making the biggest deal of it that anyone possibly could. I mean, I don't blame him. That's what they needed to do, but somehow they still didn't get out of there with a win, which is hilarious. Good for Everton. Don't expect center backs to be scoring from outside the box for them. Don't really expect a lot of scoring. I think my only interest here is under 2.5. The problem is I feel like Manchester United could run riot on this Everton team. The nice part, though, is Everton's going to restrict their space quite a bit. Manchester United coming off last weekend, not scoring at Newcastle was surprising to me. I feel like Manchester United is a quarter goal underdog on the road. It's just always a trap, it feels like. But as a big favorite here, it's going to be kind of a different scenario. I feel like there's a lot more safety in under 2.5 than Everton +1, even if this climbs to 1.25. So I'll lean that way. Next, we'll go to Fulham hosting West Ham. These are all Saturday morning matches, by the way. Fulham, I pick them right now with all the juice on West Ham on the road. I think that speaks to how poorly Fulham have been playing lately. I don't know that a pick 'em is enough for me to play them at home, but especially with Mitrovic suspended a while and their offenses looked severely impaired since really whenever he's not in the lineup. I think still don't believe in West Ham's offense. I mean, at all. I think under 2.25 is my biggest interest in this one, and it'd be pretty hard to keep me off of that one. So it'll probably make my card. Brentford then hosts Newcastle. Currently, Brentford a quarter goal underdog at home. All the juice on Newcastle potentially climbing to a half a goal favorite on the road. And that's a warning sign for me. I just don't trust the Newcastle offense whatsoever. Over/under is 2.5, juiced heavily to the under. Which is a little bit surprising based on how Brentford have been scoring goals, really a ton of goals, and lots of them really whenever they want to. And that's a really nice thing to back for an underdog, because once they take a 1-0 lead, like they do in a lot of these matches, it's really hard for the other team to then come back, equalize, and then also win the match. And so for the most part, I'm looking to back Brentford as an underdog. I still feel like Newcastle is an under-only team for me, so I like under there too. And lately, I feel like I've been making some really good plays that are both side and total. I'm looking to keep doing that to try to consolidate and try to make sure if I get a game right, I win 2 units. There's been some awful beats. Lorient against Lille comes to mind, but I'll get to that more in the Ligue 1 portion of this broadcast. Aston Villa then hosts Nottingham Forest. Currently, Aston Villa 1-goal favorite, over/under is 2.5. There's a lot of juice on Nottingham Forest right now as a 1-goal underdog. Also a little bit more juice on the under. Villa's been scoring a ton of goals. They've been playing really well. Got a big win over Chelsea. Basically got Graham Potter fired last weekend. Didn't know that was ever going to happen, but it finally did. I still believe that Unai Emery is a defensive manager. I feel like in this type of situation, they're going to have a lot of the ball. I don't know that I trust Aston Villa to do a lot with it. Nottingham Forest are going to try to restrict space, try to make this as hard as on Aston Villa as possible. I guess I do like in any type of match where I think it'll be competitive. I do like getting full goals of insurance. But I think I'm more interested actually in Nottingham Forest under 2.5 than in that +1. Next, we'll go to Wolves hosting Chelsea. No idea what's going on with Chelsea, but I just know they have this dumb American who came in, splashed a ton of cash, and it was not really what the team needed. Clearly, nothing's gone well, and now they sacked a manager who probably is going to be a good manager in England eventually, but didn't really work out. And tough place to make it work. But how can you say no to Chelsea on your resume, nor the money? Wolves a half a goal underdog at home. Juice is split. Over unders 2.25. Again, juice is split. I'm still in a belief that Chelsea can't score goals and they're a road favorite. So how are they going to win matches on the road if they can't score? How are they going to send the total over 2.25? I don't have answers to either of those questions. So I like Wolves getting a half, and I also like under 2.25. Leicester then hosts Bournemouth. Currently Leicester a half a goal favorite at home. Over unders 2.5. Juice to the over. First match without Brendan Rodgers. I feel like while he wasn't getting results, part of that is because the team was just being sold out from under him. Hearing comments like James Madison saying they're not in a relegation fight when they clearly are is hilarious, but kind of speaks to the tone deaf nature of that team. I mean, he's looking to go elsewhere. So I feel like that's also a big problem, is that those they haven't sold are focused on other things and trying to do what's best for them. I get that as a person, an employee, all that sort of stuff, but it's not worked for Leicester as a team. Bournemouth's been playing well. I do feel like they are a great side to back on the road because they're not going to get caught out on the break. I do worry about their set pieces, but the Leicester defense is more worrisome than anything. So I lean to Bournemouth getting that half of a goal, and I like under 2.5 as well. Tottenham hosts Brighton. Currently Tottenham a pick'em, which says a lot after Conte's departure. Brighton's been loved by the market for a while. Somehow stole an equalizer and got a draw from Brentford last weekend. Over under is 2.75. Juice to the under. I mean, Tottenham, I don't know really what they're doing, because if Conte is gone, but they still have his second in command in charge, they're playing the same way, which is a way that I want to fade and look to play under on. I don't know that if Brighton's an underdog here, that's certainly something I'm interested in, but I don't have it yet. So I'll wait on this pick'em and see if it climbs. It probably won't, but I lean to under 2.75. I have not really, if you've been watching this podcast, listening to this podcast, whatever, you know that I don't trust the Brighton offense, and Tottenham is a great under team as well. I feel like 2.75 is gigantic for this matchup. Southampton then hosts Manchester City. Currently Southampton a 1.75 goal underdog at home. Over under is 3. Juice the under. Southampton's had some good results here in this type of matchup at home without a lot of faith or expectation. I'm not backing it though. Moving to Sunday, Leeds host Crystal Palace. Currently Leeds a quarter goal favorite with all the juice right now at home. Over under is 2.25. Juice slightly to the over, or a little bit juice to the over. I don't believe in the Leeds offense. Crystal Palace with a crazy winner at the end last weekend, and Roy Hodgson's his return. Still think that he's just going to make them play defense and try to mess up games essentially. So that makes me really like that under 2.25 total, but also Crystal Palace getting that quarter of a goal. And if it climbs to a half, yes, Crystal Palace has been a lot worse on the road, but I don't trust Leeds at all. They're pretty much a home crowd, and we'll see how much that can inspire the team, but I don't think it's going to put the ball in the net, which makes under and underdog on the road feel good to me. Last but not least, Liverpool hosts Arsenal. Currently Liverpool a quarter goal underdog at home. Very juiced at the moment. I thought they might even be favored here, at least at pick'em. Very juiced right now, so maybe it falls down to pick'em before it kicks off. Certainly Anfield deserves a lot of respect. The team plays really well there. But I don't know that I want to really trust Liverpool. I mean, as a home underdog, that's certainly something in the way I'm looking. I'm an addict of home underdogs, as I think anybody who listens to this knows. But then Arsenal total is 3, juice to the under. I mean, Arsenal have continued to do it. I don't really know how. I don't know if I necessarily believe in them, but they're still in the lead. The lead keeps growing. They're in great shape. This is going to be a big test for them, and I like Liverpool at home getting that quarter of a goal. So my best bet for England is, I'll put all these together. And of course, if you've been listening a while, do an ultimate best bet end of show for the best bet of all. That's hence the ultimate name. There's a lot of choices on here for sure. I think my biggest interest is really to see how Chelsea responds to their firing of their coach. And I'm going to go under 2.25 Wolves hosting Chelsea. So next on the list, I'm going to go and stick around. Ultimate best bets. You get a pregame promo code, a lot of other things. Save yourself some money, win some money potentially as well. So Friday, we have a La Liga, Spanish La Liga match. We have Sevilla hosting Celta de Vigo. Currently, Sevilla, a quarter goal favorite right now. Over-under is 2.25, juiced to the under. This is about to start. So unfortunately, either you're listening live or probably won't get onto Apple Podcasts or anything. I really like Celta de Vigo. They've been playing so well, and I backed them at +0.25. Moving to Saturday, Osasuna hosts Elche. Currently, Osasuna, a 3/4 goal favorite. Over-under is 2.25, juiced to the under. I think Elche, they've been fighting really hard. They are, clearly look like the worst team in the league, unfortunately for them and their fan base and all that sort of stuff. I don't think it's very big. They're a pretty small club, but ultimately I think this could be a tight match and a little bit of a questionable, difficult one potentially for Osasuna coming off the Copa del Rey midweek. I mean, that's just a tough situation to be in general. And then come back only a few days later and then have to play Elche. I don't know necessarily that I don't think that Elche has a good chance to win this match, but I feel like I'm not really interested in backing them against the spread, but I do like that under 2.25 because I feel like, yes, they've had a bad defense, but Osasuna's offense is nothing to write home about whatsoever. So I'm pretty interested in that under 2.25. We'll see if that's my favorite one that gets it to the ultimate best bet, but that's an early one Saturday morning. Next to go, Espanyol hosting Athletic Club. Athletic Club also coming off Copa del Rey. Espanyol, a quarter goal underdog at home. Over under is 2.25, very juiced to the under. I'm still not a believer in Athletic Club. I don't think they can score goals. They have a lot of chances, but they don't do anything with them. It's like I've been a problem for years now, and I don't know really what to do to change that besides getting better finishers or better players or trying to figure out some new strategy. I leaned a home dog, getting a quarter, and also the under 2.25 in that one as well. Real Sociedad then hosts Getafe. Currently, Sociedad, a 3/4 goal favorite at home. Over unders 1.75, juice the over. Not much for me to do here. I like Getafe getting 3/4, but I'd love a +1. I'm not sure we're going to get it based on what the juice is saying, but I'll hold out for that. And I'll also hold out for an under 2, but I don't necessarily know that number is going to move there either. Getafe totals seem to be below 2 all the time. Last one on Saturday is Real Madrid hosting Villarreal. Currently, Real Madrid, a 1-goal favorite. Over under is 3, juiced heavily to the under. I'm not a believer in Villarreal. I do think that they're going to go in and try to make this as difficult as possible for Real Madrid. They had a big lead on them in the Copa del Rey many moons ago, but might have even been before the World Cup break, but ended up really capitulating late, unfortunately, as I backed Villarreal in that one. I'm not a believer in the Villarreal manager. I do think +1's a pretty big spread for Real Madrid to give, though at home in the Bernabeu, it's a really tough place to go into. But I think my strongest lean on that one is the under 3. I'm probably less interested or not interested if it falls to 2.75. I just don't believe in the Villarreal offense, even with Gerard Moreno. I don't think he's available. And even if he is, I don't expect a lot from him. Moving to Sunday, Valladolid hosts Mallorca. Currently, Valladolid, a quarter goal favorite right now. Over-under is 1.75, juice the over. Yet another total below 2. I'm not playing totals. I'd like to not play them at 2, but certainly not below it. Lean under there. And I guess lean to Mallorca as a big, heavily juiced -135 right now, bet online. That's probably not going to make my card. We'll see if there's some movement down, but I feel like it's more likely to go to pick them than to get a better juiced quarter of a goal. Mallorca's a good defense, Valladolid. I'm not really sure what they are, but at home, they're a team I'd like to be against. Real Betis then hosts Cadiz. Currently, Real Betis, a 3/4 goal favorite at home with most of the juice. Over-unders 2.25, juice the over. Cadiz are playing better. They've got more attacking talent. They're a team that looks like they're going to stay in La Liga for the umpteenth straight year, maybe 4th straight year, even though everyone expects them going down year 1, year 2, year 3, probably this year as well. Real Betis not as great of an offense lately. I think if I'm looking to back Cadiz, I want the full goal since we're so close to it. And Juice is saying that we might get there. I also lean to under 2.25 as I just don't think either of these teams are very likely to score much. Almeria then hosts Valencia. This is the head scratch of the week for me. Almeria, a quarter goal underdog at home. I don't know where this number comes from. Over under is 2.25, juiced heavily to the over. Might even get a 2.5 before this kicks off. I don't know where the Valencia love is coming from. I don't believe in it. They are a bad team and a bad club in a bad situation. Almeria's got a really tough defense, I'll admit. It's scary to back them. I think my biggest interest in that one is Almeria getting a quarter of a goal, though I do need to figure out why the heck they're an underdog at home. Rayo Vallecano then hosts Atletico Madrid. Currently, Rayo, a half a goal underdog at home. Over-unders 2.25. Very juicy to the under. And I like the home dog and I like the under because I'm not a believer in Atleti. I'm not a believer in their offense. Even if they do take leads, they're very likely to split because they want to really shut the game down and make 1-0 the final score if they take that lead. Rayo are going to sit back and counter. Atleti are going to, I think, be in a right position to fall behind ultimately, which makes that underdog very interesting to me. And I feel like 1-1 is a very good possibility here. That'll get you some cash on both of those sides, side and total. So lean to Rayo and also to the under. Last but not least, Barcelona hosts Girona on Monday. Currently Girona only a 1.5 goal underdog, a little bit lower than I was expecting, but over under is 2.75, juiced heavily to the over. I think I'm waiting to stick around to see if a 3 pops. I think it will on Monday, but Girona is certainly not the greatest defense out there, but I think Barcelona is very likely to keep a clean sheet. I think 3-0 is probably a maximum you see here. So that 3 would be very important if you could find that on the total. Don't have it yet, so I'm not going to pick that as my ultimate best bet. But for this episode, I think for the most part, since Cadiz is not yet up to 1, I mistakenly marked that in my thing. I'm keeping to the side. Almeria just is the puzzling line of all of them, I think. Ultimately, I feel like Rayo have a lot more ability to score goals. So I think my best bet, I'm going to go with the Espanyol under 2.25. I just feel like that one is the best one for me to go for because I don't believe in Athletic Club scoring goals, and on a quick turnaround, it doesn't seem like any of those things are going to work out in the right direction. Moving to Serie A. So we have a bunch of matches. We've won starting in a few minutes. AC Milan hosted Empoli. If you're live, I'll go quickly through it. AC Milan, a 1.25 goal favorite, over under is 2.5, juice to the over. Milan with an incredible performance at Napoli last week. I don't know necessarily that there's a lot to take from that. Tough to respond to that as well, but they're in a chase for Champions League. Empoli have been playing well, and I feel like they can hang around here. I just don't think I want to fade Milan at San Siro with a team that's a lot worse than they are, especially after a really good performance. Moving to Saturday, I think all the matches that are remaining in Serie A are on Saturday because they're taking Easter off. I guess there are some people in this world that still celebrate Christian holidays, countries at least. Udinese hosts Monza. Currently, Udinese a 0.5 goal favorite. Over under is 2.5. A lot of juice on Monza at the half and also at under 2.5. Not necessarily a believer at Udine, but they've been playing well lately. I think Monza is my interest in this one. They want to play offensively. I don't know necessarily that they have done a lot offensively though lately. Udinese has been playing pretty well. I feel like under 2.5 is my strongest interest in that one, but it's very juicy and I'm not sure it's good enough for me to actually play. Fiorentina then hosts Spezia. Fiorentina, a 1.25 goal favorite coming off Coppa Italia midweek. Over under is 2.75, juiced heavily to the under. Juice on the side is pretty much split even between the two. Fiorentina, I mean, I don't believe in their offense. They've been playing really well, though. I think my biggest interest in the Spezia side is more to the under 2.75 than it is to the 1.25 that they're getting, though. Anything above a goal, certainly I can't blame anyone for playing. Sampdoria then hosts Cremonese. Cremonese, the shock team in the semifinals of the Coppa Italia. They're going to have a big bounce back here, especially trying to fight relegation. They're way, way off the pace. So Sampdoria, this is a spot where they'd probably see themselves a good chance to win. They probably play an offensive lineup, but I still don't trust them to score. I think I mean, at 1/4 goal, they're basically saying Sampdoria and Cremonese are the same. Just the home field advantage difference here. I'm not sure I'd buy that. So probably lean Sampdoria as a side, but I don't play favorites in this sport because the draws are too vindictive. But I like under 2.25 in that one. Next, we'll go Atalanta hosting Bologna. Currently, Atalanta a 3/4 goal favorite with most of the juice. Over under is 2.5, juice the under. Bologna have been playing really well. Atalanta have been getting results. I'm not sure that they've been playing well enough to deserve those results. I think I'm waiting for Bologna to hit a full goal of insurance. I don't know that I'll have that. Still might play 3/4 by the time that happens. Don't really feel great about playing unders with any Atalanta team, I'll admit. Torino then hosts Roma. Torino, a 1/4 goal underdog at home with all the juice. Over unders 2, juice to the under. That's probably my strongest lean. I think Torino can give Roma some problems, but the Roma defense has been so good that it seems like if they get 1 goal, they'll be good enough to beat Torino. Not a great performance against Lazio, but a lot of that was due to a red card. I think ultimately my strongest lean for this one is Torino under 2, though it's very juiced. Verona then hosts Sassuolo. Currently Verona a pick'em with more of the juice right now. Over under is 2.5, juice to the under. Two teams that go in different directions. I think Verona's team I don't expect to score. Sassuolo I do. I'm interested in Sassuolo, but they're only a pick'em right now, so I'll wait to see if that moves to a 1/4 before kickoff. And last but not least, Lazio hosts Juventus. Currently Lazio a pick'em, a little bit more juice. Over under is 2, juice to the under. My strongest interest is the under there, but I feel like with these two teams, I mean, their defenses are better than their offenses for sure. I probably want a little bit more, especially to call it my best bet for the country. Definitely lean to under 2, but would love to see some movement that might get us a little bit more, maybe to 2.25 before this kicks off. Until that happens, I will probably be waiting on that one. For my best bet, I'm going to go with Spezia under 2.75. I don't see a ton of goals. They've been playing very competitive matches. I just don't know if Fiorentina with potentially tired legs after such a quick turnaround, I just don't feel great about that going well for them and scoring efficiently, effectively, all those sort of things. Now I'll move next to the Bundesliga, which is, let's see. Of course, now that nothing will load for me, I'll start with, so no Friday match, which is awesome. Saves me a little time. I'll start with Bayer Leverkusen at hosting Eintracht Frankfurt. Currently, Leverkusen, a half a goal favorite with all the juice at home. Over unders 2.75, juice to the over. Two teams that are really good, I got to say. I don't know necessarily how to treat them necessarily, but they are both fighting for different things. I mean, I think they're both trying to get into Champions League place. We'll see if that ends up happening the way that they kind of all planned it to. I think it's a tough spot for these two teams. They're going against each other and trying their best. And ultimately, this is a huge 6-pointer, not necessarily for relegation, but probably for getting a Champions League berth. I like Frankfurt better. I think Leverkusen have been playing so well. The big win against Bayern, then a dominant win against Schalke as well. Frankfurt are a good team to set up against them, though, because they're going to sit back, counter, and make Leverkusen overextend themselves. I feel like over under, I mean, it's hard to back and under with any sort of Leverkusen match, I got to say. So lean to Frankfurt getting a half of a goal. We might get 3/4 of the time this kicks off, which seems very high to me. Next to go, Borussia Dortmund hosting Union Berlin. Currently, Dortmund, a 1-goal favorite. All the juice most of the juice right now on Union Berlin on the road. Over under is 2.5, juice to the over. It's a tough spot for Union to go in. I feel like they have not done well in this type of stadium, unfortunately, nor have they, I feel like, done well at Bayern either. Dortmund certainly with a huge setback and at Bayern last weekend, and now are chasing the table. That pressure certainly is not good. It makes me lean to the +1 on Union. I do feel like Union is not going to try to score at all. They're going to try to keep this as tight at the back as possible, which also makes me lean to under. I need to do a lot more thinking before I advocate that, though, I will say. Augsburg then hosts FC Köln. Currently, Augsburg, a 1/4 goal underdog at home with all the juice. Over under is 2.5. Juice slightly to the over, which is a little bit surprising to me. Absolutely horrendous beat last week on the Augsburg under. Just like an own goal and then a goal in stoppage time, pass when they should have already stopped the match. And Rafael Gikiewicz, who's had a really great year, made a really big mistake flapping for a corner kick and missed it completely, leaving an open net for an easy header. I don't trust Köln. They've been playing so poorly coming off the derby with Borussia Mönchengladbach. That's a hard place to be. I think for the most part, I don't think there are a lot of goals in this one. So I lean to the home team, Augsburg. We play much better there. And I lean to under 2.5 because I don't think Cologne have much to score or anything. They haven't been scoring at all this season. FC Mainz, or I guess it's FSV Mainz, 0-5, excuse me, 3/4 goal favorite to Werder Bremen. A little bit more juice on the home team. Over under is 2.75, juice to the over. Mainz have been playing really well. I don't necessarily trust that their offense comes from forcing turnovers. It's really unreliable, I think, especially because Werder Bremen are going to play defensively and try to use their front two of Füllkrug and Dulsch to get up the field and create a goal. I don't see a lot of goals in this one. I feel like at +1, I'm very interested in Werder Bremen as a side. Without having that just yet, I'm more interested in the under 2.75. Next, we'll go Freiburg hosting Bayern München, a rematch of the VfB Pokal midweek. Freiburg, a 1.25 goal underdog at home. Over under is 3.25, juice to the under. Freiburg have done a lot better against the bigger clubs at home, but still a really scary matchup. Thomas Tuchel is probably a better manager, I think, for Bayern than Julian Nagelsmann, but still weird with that whole situation. I don't know that I want to back Freiburg as a big underdog, but over a goal at home, I guess I should put it on my list. Next, go to Hertha Berlin hosting RB Leipzig. Currently, Hertha, a 3/4 goal underdog at home. All the juice on Leipzig, maybe climbing to a 1-goal favorite, which on the road would be monstrous for how big the road splits they have. They're so good at home, Leipzig are, and they're so bad on the road. Over under is 2.75, juice to the under. I don't really know what to do with this one. I feel like there's some good things pointing towards Hertha Berlin. They're not a 1-goal underdog yet. And I think that's a minimum for me to be interested. And I've learned the hard way that just don't play unders with Hertha. They make really bad mistakes. Moving to Sunday, Borussia Mönchengladbach hosts VfL Wolfsburg. Currently, Gladbach, a 1/4 goal favorite at home. Over under is 2.75, slightly juice to the over. A lot of juice on Wolfsburg on the road right now. I'm a believer in Wolfsburg. I feel like Gladbach have been so bad at times this year, mainly on the road. They've been better at home, but still want to play a counterattacking style. I don't know that Wolfsburg are going to overextend themselves. I feel like Wolfsburg, I trust Niko Kovac a lot more than what Borussia Mönchengladbach, who just seem to be a team in transition at this point. It's a very juiced a quarter of a goal right now on the road team, though. So we'll see if that actually ends up sticking around by the time we kick off on Sunday. Bochum then hosts VfB Stuttgart, a big battle at the bottom of the table. Bochum, a quarter goal underdog at home. That's inexplicable to me. I got to say, over unders 2.5. I like the under there. It's slightly more juice right now. I don't know where Stuttgart come off giving any sort of as a favorite on the road. Certainly they're more talented, have more money, more value in their squad, but coming off the DFB Pokal midweek against Nuremberg, middle of the table, League, Schweizer Liga, second division, the Bundesliga. I don't know where this comes from, and I feel good enough about German Bundesliga lines that I don't think I'm going to ask any more questions about it, unlike the Almeria line in Spain. And last but not least, Hoffenheim host Schalke 04, currently Hoffenheim, a half a goal favorite at home, over unders 2.75, juiced heavily to the under. I feel like Schalke against the spread and unders have been a godsend for months now. I don't believe in the Hoffenheim offense. They play better at home, certainly, but it's been a really tough year for them. They're in a relegation fight. Schalke know what they're doing for it. Hoffenheim don't really seem like they're prepared for it. They were more ready for Europe than they were for a relegation spat. So lean to Schalke, getting that half of a goal and to that under 2.75. So that will then bring me last but not least, before we get into ultimate best bets, promo codes, all those sort of things. I'll go, as soon as this all loads, I'll go to the French Ligue 1. So let's see. So we'll start. So we have that Friday match. We have Racing Club de Strasbourg hosting, or on the road, excuse me, at Racing Club Lens. Good battle of two good teams. I feel like Strasbourg have been playing a lot better finally. Currently, Strasbourg are 1-goal underdog on the road, over unders 2.5. Pretty juicy to the over. I don't think the Lens offense has been very good. I played Strasbourg +1, but it starts in a minute. So unfortunately, I don't know that we're going to get too far. Moving to Saturday, Angers hosts Lille. Angers with a good result. Home draw, I think, or road draw at Nice last weekend, but I don't really believe that that's going to turn into much. Lille's been so fortunate scoring goals they don't deserve late. Getting big wins late, put them in a European position. We'll see if they can hang on to it. But currently Lille, 1.25 goal favorite on the road, over unders 2.75, juice the over. I don't think I can back Angers at this point, but it was a good showing last weekend as they get ready for Ligue 2. Nice, a half a goal underdog at home to PSG, over unders 2.75, juice the under. I feel like Nice, I mean, they don't lose matches, it seems. That's awesome, especially PSG have had a lot of problems, despite being the best team by far and having Liga supposedly locked up. They've looked horrible ever since exiting the Champions League. That's really what they're going for this year. I like Nice getting half of a goal. I think it's enough for me. Lyon then hosts Rennes on Sunday. Lyon currently a quarter goal favorite. All the juice right now, almost all of it, over unders 2.5, juice the over. Rennes have been a really bad road team, but Lyon just played on the road at Nantes in the Coupe de France, where Rennes had the week off. So I mean, it's time for Rennes to start playing, but their schedule gets a lot easier towards the end of the season. We'll see if that helps them to get into that European position. They've just fallen out of it, and that's a big test for them. I don't know that a quarter is enough for a bad road team at this point. Estac Troyes then hosts Clermont Foot. Currently Troyes a pick'em right now. Most of the juice right now, Clermont Foot at the pick'em on the road, over unders 2.5. Juice the under. Clermont with miraculous 2 penalties in the second half late in the game, especially after a red card. Miraculously got a win last weekend. I like under 2.5. I don't think they're going to score except from the penalty spot. Ultimately, I mean, maybe they will, but Troyes is not going to offer much either. Two teams that are trying to fight relegation. I think that ends in a stalemate. Montpellier then hosts Toulouse. Currently Montpellier, a half a goal favorite. All the juice right now on Toulouse on the road, over unders 2.75, juiced heavily to the under. Montpellier have been playing really well. Still feels like a really big price for Toulouse though. So I like that half of a goal. Feel like over if anything, but I'm not really an over player. Stade de Reims then host Stade de Brestois. Reims a 1-goal favorite, over unders 2.75, juice the under. I like Brest +1 plus the under 2.75. The run for Reims has been awesome, but I'm not sure it's really viable. Ajaccio then hosts Angers. Currently Ajaccio a pick'em with almost all the juice right now, over unders 2, juiced heavily to the under. I'm waiting to see if Angers move to a quarter of a goal. They're not there yet, but I'll be scoping that one out because I think they're a really good underdog. They've been playing really well and look like a team that might somehow survive that looked dead at one point this season. FC Nantes then hosts Monaco, currently Nantes a half a goal underdog at home, over unders 2.5, juice the over. Tough spot for Nantes coming off the Coupe de France midweek, especially tough because Monaco score a ton of goals and Nantes cannot catch up with that. So they're going to have to keep it really quiet defensively. And I feel like it's going to be a tough one for them. They've never been really good with balancing Europa League, and it's been a tough year. We'll see if that continues. Last but not least, Lorient hosts Marseille. I'm waiting for Lorient to climb from 3/4 of a goal underdog to a full +1. Don't have that yet. I also feel like Lorient have been playing really good defense. It's probably going to be an issue without Abergel in the midfield right now, I'll admit. But I feel like we might see some movement when the lineups come out. We might get Lorient +1. We might get over under 3. Marseille have not been playing great. They've been struggling lately. So as a big road favorite, there's something I'd like to be against. I also feel like I might have gone through and not given a best bet for Germany. My bad. But I'll go through an ultimate best bet portion and do all that. I got it right in front of me. Don't worry, anybody. I know you were all super worried about it. But for my best bet for France, I'm going to go with Alger under 2, because I just don't think there are going to be goals in that matchup, barring some red cards, penalty kicks, and you probably need a bunch of those to end up getting the ball in the back of the net. And so that will bring us, well, I guess I might as well. So first, want to plug my Patreon, doing all sports there. You can get everything I'm leaning each night for a much better price than you'd see at pregame.com. So I suggest if you're a pregame subscriber, check out there and potentially do both. Of course, I'll be posting everywhere, wherever I can, as much as I can, as long as possible. But would strongly suggest checking out the Patreon. For all pregame users, speaking of, for 20% off for all listeners of Soccer Podcast, please use the promo code SAVE20. I know my guy AJ Hoffman has a big UFC card out this week. If you like seeing people get their skulls bashed in or their arms broken, check that out. Also, my MLB pod co-host Scott Seidenberg, he's putting out a bunch of baseball stuff as well, just like I am. So check out pregame.com, use the promo code SAVE20. It's good for only 7 days, so make sure you jump on it, but save yourself some money and ultimately give me some credit, hopefully, for all the millions of people using those promo codes. And then, do I have anything else to plug? I guess like, subscribe if you're on YouTube, leave a 5-star review if you're on Apple Podcasts or on Spotify. Hit the follow button if you're on Twitter, @the_G Warner. Follower counts keep climbing. I really appreciate you all for helping me out with that. It's been awesome. And I think now it's time to get ready for this ultimate best bet. So let's make sure I got all my ducks in a row before we get into this. Hey, this is @the_G Warner on Twitter and on Instagram. For my best bets and the ultimate best bet for this week's European soccer show, I like the Wolves under 2.25 in England. In Spain, I like the Espanyol under 2.25. In Italy, I like Spezia under 2 3/4. In Germany, I like VfL Bochum +1/4 of a goal at home. The only side I'm giving out. And then Auxerre under 2 in the French Ligue 1. For my best bet, ultimate best bet for this episode, betting the pitch number 183, I'm going to go with VfL Bochum, a 1/4 goal underdog at home to VfB Stuttgart. Stuttgart with DFB Pokal match midweek. They're going to lose some legs from that one, unfortunately. And I feel like VfL Bochum have been one of the best home teams. I mean, they're in this league right now because of their home performances. Don't see that changing. Don't believe in Stuttgart. Feel like this line is silly. I'll pay to see Stuttgart go on the road and win. Feel like there's a good chance that Bochum do what they've done to much better teams, and that's get a win at home. And that'll do it for this episode of Betting the Pitch. Thanks for coming with me a little later on Friday than I meant to, but I hope you all have a nice weekend. And ultimately, let's win some money. If you want any questions, feel free to hit me up on Patreon, on Twitter, wherever you got me. I strongly suggest checking out Patreon. I think it'd be worth it for everyone. But that's it. We'll get together for midweek stuff next week. Stay on the lookout for baseball stuff coming out, and we'll talk soon.